Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, where we discuss and recap news of the week in Major League Baseball. As always, I'm your host, Jeremiah. Well, we got an action-packed show for you guys today, as I will talk about a little bit about the San Diego Padres. Yes, the San Diego Padres are making history, even though they're having a terrible season. I will explain why, and I will get into more of teams who start off the second half of the season good, and teams that start off the second half of the season very, very bad. And I will preview some series this weekend, as well as a couple of pitching matchups. But yes, let's begin the show to talk about the San Diego Padres. Yes. So, yeah, I know. When I found out what the San Diego Padres have been doing, I was actually kind of shocked because I haven't been paying attention to this. I was like, wow, we need to start. Okay, this is something we need to pay attention to. As always, as I'm saying, is San Diego Padres extended their home run streak to 25 games on Wednesday. Yes, 25 games. Yes. They're matching a National League record. And, of course, the 2002 Texas Rangers hold their current Major League Baseball record at 27. So they're 2 games away, guys. 2 games away. Yes, and they extended that streak on Wednesday with Adam Rosales, had a third inning home run and in Wednesday's game. And they are off today, but they will hit back to the field tomorrow. Yes, they hit back to the field tomorrow against Cincinnati, which could be a series of home running teams. And when I first heard about this streak, I was like, man, because when you think of the Padres this season, you don't think of a contender at all, not at all, one bit. And of course, in the game on Wednesday, after Adam Rosales went deep, Brent Wallace and Alex Dickerson went deep later in the game, as the San Diego Padres beat the Toronto Blue Jays 8-4. And of course, that is a team that former San Diego Padre Melvin Upton is on the team now, and he has not joined that team since. But I previously talked about that in the previous episode, as you can also listen to that after you listen to this. And not only that, during the streak, Dickerson has homered in 4 straight games himself. So he's having quite a week. He's on a tear right now. And thanks to that Melvin Upton trade, Dickerson will get more playing time. And the Padres gotta love that. They gotta love that. And if only the Padres have some pitching this year, man, what the damage that they can do, not only in the National League West, but man, in the whole league. Man, imagine if the Padres had some pitching with them. Because I knew they had some guys that can have some pop. I knew that, but man, they need some pitching. If this team had pitching, man, we I don't even think we'd be talking about the Cubs right now. But of course, like I said earlier, the Texas Rangers do hold the current record at 27 consecutive games with a home run. And of course, the Padres, they're 2 behind with 25. And then they're tied with the Atlanta Braves, who hit 25 in 1998. And they're also tied with the Detroit Tigers, who did it in 1994, and the New York Yankees in 1941. Yes, when World War II was going on. Yes, World War II, man. The fact that was such a huge gap from 94 to 41, that pretty much tells you how hard that was. And then from 2002 to 2016, 14 years? 14 years for that streak to be tied? That's amazing in itself. That is quite an achievement. Well, getting back to this home run streak that the San Diego Padres have had, 10 different players have homered for the Padres during this 25-game home run streak. Who has hit the most, though? Ryan Schimpf. Ryan Schimpf has hit the most. He has 9. Matt Kemp has 7. The Padres hit 47 total home runs in 25 games, and that is quite an achievement in itself. So there's multiple home runs in the streak, and it is amazing. It is quite amazing. And I know they're not having a good year by the numbers. You know, they're out of playoff contention, last place in the National League West, that is. But with the series, with the Blue Jays over, of course, like I said, the Padres do enjoy that day off, and they will head into the weekend series against the Cincinnati Reds to possibly break the streak this weekend on Sunday. And I think it's possible. I think it's possible because Cincinnati pitchers, by far, have allowed the highest home run rate in baseball at 1.7 home runs per 9 innings. So I think it might happen. And of course, the Minnesota Twins, they're second behind at 1.38 home runs a game per 9 innings. That is. But I think so. It looks like the Padres are in good position to tie and break this record, despite the terrible season that they are having. But I don't know. I think legitimately, I think I might be disappointed if the Padres might get shut down. I think I will. I really want the Padres to break this record. I think it'll be good for those fans that haven't really haven't had a chance to see a winning team, but I think it'll give a chance, to sell some tickets to the fans. Yes, because like I previously said, they are at home this week in San Diego at Petco Park, and I think I would love to see it being done at Petco Park in front of their home fans. I think that is great for their fans over there, and I'm just excited that I'm talking about the Padres here. Obviously we haven't talked about them because they haven't really done anything. Being in fourth place, that is, excuse me. I said they're in last place earlier. They're actually in fourth place, 15 and a half games back of the National League, 44-58 record. They haven't played well on the road. They've been okay at home. They're 2 games below 500 at home, 48 run differential. And trust me, I was shocked when I heard that they were having this home run streak because they've been so bad this year. It's just that maybe they're not bad after all. Maybe they're 2 of 3 pitchers away from being really good. Maybe this is all this team needs to contend because this team they're hitting home runs. They're hitting home runs, and maybe, just maybe, they're about a couple pitchers away from being really good. I think that's all it is. Maybe if they had a couple pitchers that performed really well this year, because I know they had Drew Pomeranz, but they traded him to the Boston Red Sox, and which I think was a pretty good deal. Maybe if they had a solid rotation, man, this team would be a legit playoff contender. But if the Padres do break the streak, or they happen to end the streak, probably update it for you guys next week because this is amazing streak and accomplishment, and I think it might happen. They're playing a team that allows a lot of home runs, and I think we'll update you guys next week on that. Well, anyways, we're gonna take our first break, and I will get into some teams that started the second half really good and started the second half very, very bad. And I will tell you who those teams are when we come back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, and I will discuss some teams that have started the second half of the season really good, and some teams that just started bad. Well, let's get to the good. Let's get to the good first. Okay. Well, what I have here, I've looked up and down the standings here, and teams in the last 10 games. There's some teams that are doing quite well, and they're not even in playoff contention. Such as the Cincinnati Reds. Yes, they have started the second half at 8-4. Of course, that is. They are getting really good production from Jay Bruce, who could be on his way out of Cincinnati maybe later this week. Maybe later this week, and I think it might happen. But they are starting really good. They did win Wednesday night against the Giants 2-1, and they took 2 out of 3 in that series. By the way, they did take 2 out of 3. And the Colorado Rockies. Yes, the Colorado Rockies are only 3 games under 500 as we speak. They started the season off at 9-4, 6 games back in the wild card race. And it's only the end of July, so maybe they might have a chance. Maybe they might have a chance to contend. I don't know. We shall see. And then the Oakland Athletics. Yeah, Oakland Athletics are 9-4 to start the second half. Man. Yes, the Oakland Athletics are starting off the second half really good, and I don't know if they can keep it up with the roster they have. They do have some guys. They might be some sellers, and I think they will be seller. They got guys like Sonny Gray. Maybe he might not get traded away, but they do got guys like Josh Riddick, Rich Hill, who might be dealt later this weekend as the trade deadline approaches. And the team that has a really good start to the second half is the New York Yankees at 8-5, and they are 4 games back in the wild card race. Yeah, so 2 of these teams, they're kind of emerging in the wild card race now, and I don't know if the Colorado Rockies can keep it up. I don't know if they can possibly contend for a wild card spot. Because they're 6 games back. They're in the league with so many tough teams. They have the St. Louis Cardinals, who also had a great start, by the way, at 8-5 and 1 game behind in the wild card race. They got teams like the Marlins, who have surprised some people. The LA Dodgers, who are keeping pace despite the injuries they have. We know the Colorado Rockies have the offense. I just don't know if they have the pitching. I do not think they have the pitching, and it's tough for me to see them continue with that success. But I can't disagree with this lineup though. This lineup can be dangerous, but they could be sellers. Cargo may be on his way out of there. Cargo. They did call top prospect David Dahl. They did call him up. He's expected to be really good. They got Trevor Story, who's been quite a story. Sorry for the pun, but he's been quite a story. You got Nolan Ariando, who is playing like an MVP this year, even last year. And I don't see the Colorado Rockies keeping pace with this. But I do like the direction they're heading with their young players. And I think if this team can get some pitching, because I know Tyler Chatwood and John Gray have been really good. John Gray, he has ace potential. Tyler Chatwood has been pretty good. If they can build around those guys and this lineup, and I think they can be really good in the future. Obviously, the time is not right now. But we got to wait and see how the Rockies play. Anyway, moving on to the teams with bad starts. Yes, these two teams that I have here were in the World Series 2 years ago. Yeah, the Kansas City Royals have started off the second half at 4-8, and they're back in the wild card race at 6.5 games. 6.5 games, yes. Man, oh man. I remember Ben and I were talking about the wild card race a couple episodes back, and he said he had the Royals in the wild card race. He has them winning the wild card spot, and I disagree with him on that because they're not the same team. They're just not the same team. Their pitching is not the same. The lineup, they played well at times, but I just think they're just in a tough division this year, especially with the way the Cleveland Indians have been playing. Man, I just don't see it happening. And plus, the teams on a wild card race, they got the Blue Jays who are playing good, Boston Red Sox who are playing really well, Astros who have played well since May, Detroit Tigers, the New York Yankees, the Seattle Mariners, and the Chicago White Sox. Yeah, I don't see the Kansas City Royals getting to the playoffs this year. I just don't get. I know they have great years for Eric Hosmer. I know Kendrys Morales is leading the team in home runs. I know they got some good players there, but the teams that they're facing and they're trying to keep pace with, I can't see it. Cannot see it right now. And the other team, yes, of course, like I said, the teams that have gone off to bad starts, most notably, did play in the World Series 2 years ago. And yes, the other team that the Royals played was the San Francisco Giants, and they have started terrible. Yes, terrible, man. Really? They got swept by the Padres to start off. They went 1-7 on the road trip. They played the Yankees after the Padres. Last weekend, they just, I don't know what it is. They just couldn't hit. Couldn't hit with runs in scoring position. Team just, I guess they just couldn't pitch anymore. Samardzija, Jeff Samardzija, that is, hasn't pitched well in this second half so far. But they do have a 2-game lead in the National League West. So they got that going for them. And remember, this is a team that had the best record in Major League Baseball before the second half started. Like I said, I remember me and Ben and I did a segment on the Giants in our last episode before the All-Star break, and we were telling them, we're saying, this is a dynamic team, dominant team. There's no way this team can lose with the way that they're playing right now. And I think we kind of cursed them a little bit. I think we did. And for everyone listening, tuning in, for that matter, in the Northern California area, and I'm sorry, Ben and I cursed your team. I am so sorry for that. But anyways, we're going to take our final break, and I will preview some series happening this weekend, some most notable series, and some pitching matchups. Yes, pitching matchups to look out for. And we'll be right back, and do not go anywhere, guys. Do not go anywhere.
Want to find out what movies to go see? Then check out the GSMC Movie Podcast. It's your ticket to the latest movies, whether it's a new blockbuster event, romantic, comedy, or action flick. This show has got it all covered. They talk some what to go see now, don't bother, what's hot on Netflix, and everything in between. That's gsmcpodcast.com/movie-podcast. When it's all about the movies, it has to be this new show. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. And to end the episode, I will preview some series coming up this weekend. I'm going to start off with a couple of division leaders. Yes, the San Francisco Giants will host the Washington Nationals this weekend. And this is an important matchup for both teams. As, like I previously said, both division leaders. Washington Nationals are up 4 games in the National League East. Yes, they're ahead of the Miami Marlins. 4 games ahead, that is. And the San Francisco Giants are 2.5 games ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers and the National League West. What makes this, I think this is a more important series for the Giants. Because like I previously said in the previous segment, San Francisco Giants have got off to a very, very bad start. Maybe I think they might be heading on the right direction. But who knows how this team will come out against a division leader in itself. Anything can change, though. Anything can change. The thing that worries me about this series for the Giants is Jeff Samardzija is actually pitching tomorrow night, on Friday night. And he's probably one of the... He was part of the big three. He started off the season really well, but it has been inconsistent, especially coming out of the second half. So that worries me a little bit. And, of course, you got Johnny Cueto pitching this weekend. I think he's pitching this weekend. I might have to fact check that. And Jake Peavy. Actually, no. Peavy is pitching on Saturday. And Matt Cain pitching on Sunday. And what worries me is that Peavy and Matt Cain have been the most inconsistent starters for the Giants this season. As the Matt Cain has trouble staying healthy, and Peavy has just been really inconsistent. Yeah, really, really inconsistent. And this is a big series for the Giants. Huge series for the Giants. And like I said, actually, Johnny Cueto will be pitching tonight to start off the series in a 4-game set. Samardzija will pitch Friday night. And Peavy will pitch Saturday, and Matt Cain will pitch Sunday. Matt Cain will be going against Gio Gonzalez. Jake Peavy will be going against Joe Ross. Jeff Samardzija will be going against Matt Scherzer. And Johnny Cueto tonight will be going against Tanner Warwick. Yes, Tanner Warwick. And there's a pretty couple of pitching good matches. I'm really intrigued to see Johnny Cueto versus Warwick in the first game of the series. And I'm actually really intrigued to see Matt Scherzer versus Jeff Samardzija. Yes. I think this is a really good chance for Jeff Samardzija at this point right now. And I actually want to see Matt Cain and Gio Gonzalez. I think that might be a good game because both of these pitchers have been really inconsistent at times. And I think this is potential, matchup of pitchers redeeming themselves. And the only thing that really worries me about this series is the Giants can probably get swept 0-4. I don't see them sweeping the Nationals. I do not see that at all. But I do see them getting 2 games in this series and a very important matchup for both teams, that is. And moving on to other series going on this weekend is St. Louis Cardinals versus the Miami Marlins. Yes, this is a very important matchup for these two teams who are in wildcard contention. Yes, they are in wildcard contention. Miami Marlins, of course, hold the second wildcard spot, while the St. Louis Cardinals are 1 game behind. Yes, the Miami Marlins have not gone away, people. They have not gone away at all. Ben and I talked about in a previous episode how they've been just a surprise. Their offense has been really they've been a consistent team, actually, and as a whole. They've been a real consistent team. I know Jose Fernandez, he's been a stud, and the whole rest of the pitching rotation does worry me a little bit. But, man, I'm actually really excited to see this. Yes, the Miami Marlins, yes. I'm really excited to see this. And the series does start tonight. You got Michael Wacha facing Jose Fernandez in the opener. This is a 4-game set, by the way. And on Friday, Mike Leake. Yes, Joe Urrea. Mike Leake, I don't know about that pitching matchup. Mike Leake has been consistent. So I probably give the Cardinals the win here. The Cardinals have not announced a starter on Saturday. They might bring up prospect Alex Reyes from the minor leagues. And if he does get brought up, promoted, he will go against Joe Cosart, that is. So that's another player I'm really interested to see this weekend is Alex Reyes if he gets promoted. And to end the series, you got Carlos Martinez going against Joe Kohler. Yeah, Joe Kohler has been really inconsistent, but he's been coming on of his own lately. And, I'm really excited. This is a very exciting series. I'm really intrigued to watch this series, and we'll see how this series goes. And then for the final series that I really intrigued to see this weekend is Houston and Detroit. Yes, the Houston Astros and Detroit Tigers. These are two wildcard contending teams in the American League. Yes. I really enjoy watching the Houston Astros right now. They're just a fun team to watch. Like I said, Jose Altuve is the MVP, having an MVP caliber season. If they get to the playoffs, I think he could have a really good shot at winning the award. But, the Houston Astros, they're 1 game behind in the wild card race, and the Detroit Tigers are 2.5 games behind. So these 2 games is very important. The series, that is very important to these 2 teams. And this is probably one of the most exciting matches of the weekend. I think that is because, you got a really good lineup in Houston. Actually, really 2 good lineups that can hit a lot of home runs. Yes, a lot of home runs. And taking a look at the pitching matchups here for this series. This series actually does start on Friday, and you got Matt Boyd for the Tigers pitching against Colin McHugh for the Astros, and you got Justin Verlander pitching on Saturday versus Mike Fiers. Yes, Mike Fiers has been coming on his own late with the 7-4 record, and you got Mike Pelfrey to end the series versus Dallas Keuchel. So. Or Coachell, how do you say his name? Excuse me, I'm so, my bad. You got these you got these 3 matchups, and this is a very important series for these 2 teams. And yes, and going back to and besides a series that is pitching matchups in general that I'm looking forward to this weekend is I've said already Matt Scherzer versus Jeff Samardzija on Friday, Jeremy Hellickson versus Julio Teheran. Yes. Jeremy Hellickson going toe-to-toe against Teheran for the Phillies against the Atlanta Braves. And this is a matchup of 2 guys that can possibly be traded after they're done. Maybe we might not even see this matchup because these 2 guys can be dealt right when I go off the air. You never know. But these 2 guys are possible trade candidates, that is. Playing for 2 teams that are being sellers. Possibly being sellers is trade deadline. I think both teams are. That is the Philadelphia Phillies and the Atlanta Braves. And Sunday, we have a really good matchup. And Chris Tillman for the Baltimore Orioles going toe-to-toe versus Aaron Sanchez of the Toronto Blue Jays. Yes, this is a matchup I'm really intrigued to see. Chris Tillman's having a bounce-back year. Aaron Sanchez is having an incredible year. His first year as a full-time starter. And those are my pitching matches that I'm looking forward to this weekend. And this concludes our show, guys. Yes, concludes our show. And I'd like to thank you for tuning to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. You can catch us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube, SoundCloud, and at gsmcpodcast.com. You can check out this show as well as the other shows. Of course, I do the football show And you can also see a portfolio of shows coming up late this year and early 2017. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter at GSMC_baseball and on Instagram at the same handle. You can like us on Facebook at GSMC Baseball Podcast. And that concludes our show, guys. You guys have a great weekend. Enjoy some baseball. Go to the ballpark. Get you some ballpark food. Yes, indeed. All right, guys, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.